Right, so we're gonna look at chapter 2.2, right? So for today, we want to learn a few things. First is you already know how to display the output, correct? How do you display the output? This system.out.print, right? ln is print line, print and cursor move to new line, like you hit enter. Print is just cursor at the end, right? Now, the option pane is like a dialog box, the dialog, that pop-up box that you can actually pop up the box and show the user instead. Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. One statement that you change. Instead of system.out.print ln, you just say JOPtionPane. This is a class just like system, right? And then the method that you're going to use is .show message dialog instead of print ln, right? Or .out.print ln. So that's it. So this is a class and this is the method. If you want to show the dialog box, right? Okay. Now,
did you have to import that class?
Of course, if that class is not under lang package, you have to import them, right? So you have to import. It's under javadoc.swing. And then now, the message that you want to say is the same thing. You want to say hello world. So hello world, right? Now, how about the two parameters you may see? One is hello world and the other one is the parent component, like the message is what you want to say. So the parent component, now we gotta put no. Okay. When you write an application with a graphic user interface like the whole window, then you can always set, you may have open many windows. When you want to have the dialog pop up, you can select location, which windows that the dialog is going to be on the top. Like now we don't have any, we just say no. And that should do for the dialog. So what I'm going to do, I'll need to run this, but I want to restart my IntelliJ. Okay. Alright, so now let me restart that and we rerun it. Okay. So let's do some advertising a little bit with a calculator on Microsoft. So if you remember your introduction 1.1, right? When you have to convert numbers, binary, hexadecimal, you can always go to programmer. And then, like for example, I'm looking at 82. I just type 82 or in decimal 82, right? Let me clear. So you make sure you change to the like decimal. I click decimal 82. Then it's give you the rest 52, 122, and the binary for you. So that's why this is incorrect, right, Alexander? Right? Is that Alexander?
Yep.
I'm talking about. I try to recall his name. Alex.
Sorry,
right?
Yes.
Alex. Yeah. So your first one is not correct. See that?
Oh.
That's the correct version. Okay. Just try to show you that you can use this to help. Alright, so let's see if my IntelliJ is still loading. Alright. So now we gotta use JOPtionPane to display the message instead of system.out.print, right? Like now, I just going to say hello world. It's going to pop up and say hello world. But for your assignment, you're going to read you still use scanner to read in input from user keyboard. But you're gonna learn how to read different data types. So far you have learned how to do string and int, right? Now you're gonna read int, float, double, byte. And we were talking about that last time, right? Let me just go back to our, sorry, class exercises again. And 2.1. You're gonna read (2.2), right? Byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, and boolean. Okay, how do we read boolean? With scanner? Anyone know? How do we know? You need to look at Javadoc, correct? So, can you find a method that returns boolean and tell me what's the name? Next boolean, right? So what we're gonna do, we're going to read that input and store the value into a variables. What should be a variable type? Boolean. Like now I show you this is how you display it, right? So we're gonna change a little bit. We're gonna use scanner. Now the question said write an echo program, meaning you prompt the user with appropriate messages for different data type input. I'm going to say so we use system to display, right? Enter a boolean value, right? And now the user is going to enter a boolean value. Now you're going to have to data type, we just said boolean, right? Okay, and that's the variable name, right? Okay, equals to, now we have to use scanner. How do we use scanner?
You have to import it first.
Right, and declare it, right? So this is just the name, right? System.in. And it's red because we import. Now we import that, right? You can type or just hit L enter. So it IntelliJ will import for you. Now how do we read in? We just say keyboard dot next boolean, that one, right? Now we get the values, right? So you're gonna do the same with the rest. That makes sense? Let me show you how to char. Anybody can tell me? We talked about that last class. It's gonna be string, right? And what's next? So we prompt the user with enter a child value or enter a characters, right? So we said this has to be char, correct?
Yep.
Var, this name char var stand for variable. I have to use keyboard dot string is the next, not string, right? Is that done?
Yeah, that makes sense.
No.
Because the string, there's a problem, right? What we talk about, this whole thing is a string. String is a class.
Yeah.
Then we should have an access to method of string. By using dot again, and this return the char. Char at index should be 0, right?
Yeah.
Like we talk about why 0 because
It's the first.
the first letter that user entered. Alright, so now you're gonna do the rest and then I'll put the result on JOPtionPane. JOPtionPane is right there, show message dialog, right? How do you want to show the message? You just need to pretty much just do one dialog here and concatenating the values here, right? Like, for example, let's say you have an echo program, right? Just entered, just echo back, right? What the user has entered. And then we're going to concatenate with the variable boolean var, right? And now you can start to use the escape sequence for the new line, right? We talked about escape sequence a little bit last time, right? /n stand for new line.
/t is tab.
Right. And now we can just concatenate with the next one, which is the char, right? And then you keep doing that for each data type by concatenating them in a statement, right? When you want to display, you have just entered a char bar, right? All right, so let's try that. A lot of you are still confusing how to run IntelliJ. Like, you have to make sure you see the C like class. Sometimes when you open the file with it, it looks like a document text file. It's not gonna be able to run. It has to be part of the project. So that's why when you run, you were having issue like it's not running. Okay. And when you hit play, it's always has a list that is configured to. So that's why first time I just do right click and do run as, run demo, right? That's to configure to that. Otherwise, may link into different project or classes. All right, so I'm going to enter false, enter a shark. All right, so we're supposed to see the dialog pop up, correct?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it's right behind it. So don't be frustrated, I don't see it, because we didn't tell the parent, so it's right behind it. Okay? And when you hit OK, it's just gone. So that's pretty much your class exercise that you're going to learn. So you're required to have Javadoc, appropriate comments, single line comment, multiple line comments, Javadoc comments, right? And do the same, submit on Git. Alright, so now we were talking about how we're going to show the document on Git Javadoc, right? So let's see. Let's see. We try to display documentation on GitHub, right? You could add a docs directory. So, I mean, there are a couple ways. Let's say, for example, I want to generate Javadoc, right? So that's how you do at the class level, at the main method level, right? So display data type. Okay. So to generate, you just go to tools and do generate Javadoc. Now you put the into the output directory. So it said so it's under my username. And I actually want to create another folder's name. Like I said, just add docs. Let's try. So DOCS, right? DOCS doc, like that exact spelling. Hit OK. So I'm going to generate. So it's just going to start to generate and put all the document and the docs. And then once it's done, we actually want to see it like this when we go to Git, right? Like now we're not seeing. So we're going to now push this to Git. Okay. So there's another way that they try to show you here, but let's try this way first. Alright, so we're going to import into version control. Okay, we're going to share. And so we're going to share all the docs. We not necessarily have to share the ideas folder. That's it for IntelliJ. We share the source code, and we don't need that. So we're sharing now. Now I want to make sure I'm not sure which account I'm using now. I'm going to check on settings. Like you may have several accounts, like me, I have several accounts on version control GitHub. So I want to see which account I'm using. I go to GitHub. It's actually push to 202. All right. No, I think we have seen this before, right? What was the problem again? It's create a project folder, but it's what we not push. I think it's the issue because there are a few things. First, if you want to do that, you have to test. Okay, that's fine. And then you test Git. That's fine. You have to install Git. You have Git installed. Now, let me do it manually. It's connected already. You can see. We go push. Not able to access. Okay. Let me see. I can access that on the browser. Okay, it's empty, right? It's create a folder for you. Push fail with errors unable to access. So I use git.exe. Let me try to switch my account again. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna I don't want to take stand restart. Let me see if I can try to share. Actually, if I make changes, let me make some changes a little bit. And then after changes, I want to try to do the commit. Remember, commit means what?
Share Git. Use Git to start a new repository, I think.
So if you push, it's published, right?
Right.
Commit is just get recorded, the point that you can revert back. It's like save, but save will replace, but commit will not replace the old one. But create a copy with the changes. Like record the serial number that you can revert back to that serial number. Like this is the old serial, this is going to have the new version, right? But when you commit, is commit locally, like at author, something like that. Right, that's the changes that I made. So you could do just commit. If you commit, it's just change a local, it's not published to GitHub. If you do commit and push, it will try to do both. But I just try to see, because it keeps failing, so I just try to see if I commit first. Unable to access. Yeah. It keeps failing. Like, by the way, I just switched account to CSC200. Now when you commit, you can always revert. See that? You can revert to the previous version. Revert changes like now. This is just the changes, but it looks like they don't have list for us to revert yet. Like this is just the one file that have changes. Then I need to try to fix this problem first. So this is fine. Let me restart IntelliJ then, because I switched to different account now. And let me sign into my different account. Alright, I'm going to launch IntelliJ. So you see we don't have the JOPtionPane demo. Right. There's no JOPtionPane demo. The repository name. So what we try to do, I'm going to wait for IntelliJ to come up, and then we're going to try to connect to this CSC200 instead of 202. The other one was 202, the account. And let's see, it's going to commit through. Now, normally when you have this situation, sometimes what I do is I use a command line to do that. So when you download Git, you can go to Git Bash, or even just Git UI. Just like Git UI is just like the IntelliJ version of Git, right? That you can do push So Git Bash is just like CMD. You just do it straight from the command line. Okay, and I want you to start to practice on that if you have time, because you're gonna have one assignment. Remember, we're going to start to use Unix, right? And then in 2.5, you have to start using more editors like VI instead of like Notepad, right? VI is just like editor for Notepad. Start to learn Unix command. Okay, to run and compile. Which is soon, right? In a week. And then when we start to do 3, you have to do a lot of Git command, like using Git Bash. Okay, so that's why I started to do you a little bit into that. Pretty much just the same thing that we do, but when you do it with Git Bash, it's going to be different. Alright, now I have the project startup. So that's why you start to get yourself familiar with this a little bit, and then start to try to use Git Bash, right? So Git again. We commit the changes, no change detected. Push. So I keep getting these errors. Let me see if I can solve this. GitHub seem only support SSH, read and write the repo. Maybe I happen to set something to do SSH. So what's SSH?
Secure shell.
Right. What HTTPS?
Hypertext transfer protocols.
Right. So what's the difference?
One of them has a graphics interface like the web browser, whereas SSH, for example, is sending commands on the command line. So like HTTPS is what browsers use and what you're actually getting web pages from, whereas SSH is usually more for commands, but is a totally text-based way of interacting with the web.
So SSH and SSL, right, is the encrypting, like when you transfer data with HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol, right? Like this is not secure. Like when you use the web, it's always transfer data between server and client. S is pretty much just made secure by encrypting it. Like you can encrypt it type of standard that like the man in the middle, pretty much someone sitting in the parking lot have the program to capture your data so they can see everything. Like if you log in password to the bank, they can see your username and password, and then they can actually transfer money off your account. If it's not S, that's why I always do the transfer transaction with HTTPS website, right? When you do payment online, things like that. Oh, so that is SSL. That's just what we call SSL. Okay. Secure sockets layer, right? So SSL is pretty much just you need to get the certificates. If you like, if I want to do business, I open my website. I need to make sure that my website is secure. So to make sure it's secure, then you have to get HTTPS, which you have to get certificate that you are like the valid organization, right? And then they will verify you, like the authority will verify you and give you the certificate. Okay. And then you can pretty much just like that. See, just you may have to pay for a certificate, right? That's the price. It's pretty much a standard security technology for establishing an encrypted link between a server and a client. Now, SSL allows sensitive information such as credit card number, social security, login, transmit securely. Because when you send the data, we want to make sure it's encrypted. Someone even capture the data, they cannot read it unless they have a key to decrypt it, right? Alright, so now if you look at when you commit the data, pretty much your code is something that we want to make sure is secure too. Your classmate cannot take it when you transmit into, something that we want to make, all the data we're going to transfer, we want to make it secure, right? No one can just capture and read the data. So if you sign into, there's an option. Like for example, I have the project Hello World too, right? And I want to get the project. I can either go to HTTPS channel or I can use SSH. Now SSH is another way, okay, to get information or transfer data. So it's called secure shell, that they use the key. Like HTTPS, you may see they use what? Username and password, right? To authenticate, right? But SSH pretty much just use key. Just like key to your car, right? To open the door to your car, if you use username and password, you don't need a key. But this one pretty much just secure another level, use a key, right? You can always generate a key and use that key. So now, if you want to use SSH, okay. Because the reason we get to this because we were seeing it say I just realized I have a problem with my keep getting that errors because the HTTP request failed. So this guy said because the configuration that I have, maybe it's just support SSH. So that's what it means. So they try to use another way to transfer data, not HTTPS. Now, if you want to use SSH, it's say go to the config file under the repo. Okay. and change it from the URL. Like this is HTTP, then you just replace with SSH, because this is the way SSH is going to do. And then you can try to push again. Okay. So now let's see the problem that we have. Let me see. I actually keep having issue with my CSC200, right? This is a CSC200. So let me change this to 202. Base test. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to go to the config. So I'm going to go to I'm going to follow that suggestion. Right, so I'm going to go to the 202. Because we already seen the JOPtionPane demo that we try to push. Oh, it's let's say go to. So this is if I want to push, I can do HTTPS. I can do SSH. Let me read it again. It's a .git/config. Maybe that one is locally. So because normally when you have this, when you create Git, it will config locally. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my local. It's going to have .git folder. C users. Maybe just type in T and then JOPtionPane. That's it, right? .git folder. I look at the config. So let me see my config. Let's do. I can edit it. So the config may be the URL is to HTTP though. But it suggests us to change to SSH. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my GitHub, right? And copy that SSH. So let's go back and go to get the SSH. So I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna replace this with SSH. You don't want to use SSH instead, right? Because it keeps saying issue is not supporting. I'll save the file. Alright, so we did. Now let's come back and try again. Okay. Still fail. Could not read. Alright, so I think it's about time. So next time we come back and look at how do you fix this problem.